Gutsman's the name, cutting's my game, and I don't mean hair.
スーパーロボロックマン、世界の平和のため7つの武器を駆使して悪のロボット軍団を倒せ。アイテムいっぱい、楽しさ抜群。スーパーアドベンチャーゲームファミコンソフトロックマン好評発売中。カプコン。
Alright, I thought I'd play some Mega Man here. The Legacy Collection. This is the PC version, which is a little laggy, unfortunately. It's just not that great. So Mega Man is the game that I always test emulators out with, and this just does not feel great, which is unfortunate. There's a little bit of lag. It's just it's a little strange, you know. You'd expect it to be better, especially since. So the first version of this that I purchased was the one on the 3DS. I believe it was 3DS. Yeah, it wouldn't have been DS. Basically, I was out of town. I had to take a train somewhere. It was like a long 5-hour trip. I had my 3DS with me, and I was like, all right. I'm gonna pop into Best Buy, I'm gonna grab a game for this, and I think I paid like 30-40 bucks for it, brand new. And that version's okay. I recently sold it because I got rid of most of my 3DS games, but just trying to thin out my collection. But that version felt okay. This is extremely laggy, so I'm expecting to take a couple of deaths that I normally wouldn't. But, yeah. I now have this on almost every console. I'm sort of a Mega Man freak. I know the thumbnail has my Mega Man NES collection there, but, this is the Legacy collection. There are some issues with the X collection. I don't have that on PC, I have that on Xbox, and there we go, okay. Nope. Yeah, I normally don't, I typically don't take this many hits. Whatever. I think we'll be able to, oh! We also have to remember that in this game, and this game alone, you will take damage from enemy projectiles at bosses. So, just a casual run through here. We're going to play through the first 3 games. I kind of set up a better mic today than yesterday. I noticed the one yesterday was cutting out a lot of things, and it was like very treble heavy, which was a little frustrating. Hopefully this is coming through okay, like video-wise. I can't see why it wouldn't be, but I'm working weird shifts this week, so expect a lot of streams. I may do 4, 5, and 6 tomorrow or Friday. Probably tomorrow. We just recently picked up the Hogwarts Legacy. Is that what it's called? Hogwarts Legacy? The Harry Potter game, the newer one. We're not going to stream that, though. Mega Man 1 is one of my favorites in the classic series. Probably a top 3. At least a top 5. Probably a top 3. I think Mega Man 1 is better than 2. I might be one of the only weirdos who thinks that. The thing is that Mega Man 2 has become such a cultural phenomenon that like amongst like retro communities, that is like within this niche community, that I think a lot of people haven't actually played it or played it recently. It has a lot of problems. I'm not saying Mega Man 1 doesn't have problems. Like Rock is a little slippery. He's annoying to control at times. Spikes instantly kill you, whether or not you have invincibility frames. There are some issues. One of the big things, though, that a lot of people claim is an issue is the magnet beam, that you absolutely need it to finish the game, which is true. But, you know, Mega Man 2 has bosses like the Boo Beam and things like that. I don't think it's until like Mega Man 4 where the formula... Audio sounds a bit fuzzy? Yeah, probably. Yeah, the audio might be a little bit better now. But Mega Man 4, the formula was just kind of perfect. They sort of mastered everything. There are no inherent flaws with 4, 5, or 6. I tend to prefer the earlier ones. Just because I think they have more character, but like 4, 5, and 6 are like pretty perfect. There are no like objectively bad design decisions and stuff. I'm not trying to take anything away from people who think that 2 is the best game or anything. It's just, we'll get there. We're going to be playing 1, 2, and 3 today, so... Probably gonna have some issues here with some of this platforming, and particularly these like alien enemy droid things, because your timing has to be pretty spot on. And again, it's just not something I can do in this particular Legacy version. I don't know if it's better on consoles. I haven't, like I said, the only thing I played it on is the 3DS outside of this PC version, but it's very laggy. I'm not sure why my audio is a bit fuzzy here. Maybe I'll try to turn it down like a smidge here. Maybe that. I honestly think it's just this mic. I think every single mic in this house is just blown out and shitty. I think one little thing they could have done just to fix this particular issue here with the, like picking up this magnet beam. Then again, if you were to choose this stage before the others, you'd still be screwed. Because if you go this way, it forces you to use the beams to sort of go vertically. Yeah, I don't know what I did differently. I just lowered both of the volumes, but I wasn't peaking or something. Like, I don't know. I've just had nothing but issues with this mic. I need to get another one. I'm actually looking at a couple of lav mics right now, but I just don't want to be putting any more money into this channel. I think that's the biggest thing. Time and money. Like, I'll do live streams, but like, you know, doing edited videos and stuff is just it's just a money dump or a time sink. But I do think all of my mics are sort of blown out here. Like the headset I was using yesterday to play Bloodstained, I listened back to the VOD. And it sounded fine in my headphones, like when I was playing. But then I listened back, and the treble was super high, and it's got the same settings as this mic now. But the treble was like tinny, and really quite annoying. But it was also cutting out words, which was getting really frustrating to listen to. What do we do next? Let's go Iceman, I guess. Iceman. This is the stage where I feel the legginess the most. I'm not going to keep complaining about the legginess, but I think there are going to be a couple of hiccups here. Like, one is this particular stage. Just there's a lot of this jumping right here is pretty precise. The other one is going to be definitely Quickman in Mega Man 2. That's going to be a bit of a nightmare. I'll probably have to take out Flash first, just in order to freeze the insta-kill beams. The other thing, like one of the big things I really like about this game is it's not super cartoony. Like, of course it is, you know, a little cheesy, a little, Astro Boy-esque, but it has almost like a little bit of a darker tinge to it. Whereas I think 2, especially 4, I think 2 and 4 have a lot more of that. 3 is a little bit more, why would I do that? I should have just used the beam. I feel like 1 and 3 share a lot of similarities. Whereas like 2 and 4 are comparable in a lot of ways. But that could be that they had so many issues developing 3 that they wanted to go back to the sort of the template with 2. The music, there's a lot of like shared music, like the robot versus screens. 4 also has the flash stopper. It has a lot of like similarities. The worm things are like caterpillars in 4 that were introduced in 2 as the worm things. Alright. I really dig taking out Iceman. 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 I like dodging these projectiles for some reason. But again, they will still hit you. Hey, nothing makes you basic. No preferences make anyone basic. I mean, those are the I would say the traditional ones to enjoy in the X series, but I would also say, as someone who isn't as big an X fan as a traditional classic Mega Man fan, those are my two favorites. Like I would almost, I think recently, like the last time I played X4, I did not have a great time with it. But back in college and stuff, like, I picked it up right before I went away for college. I played it so much, that and Tony Hawk 2 and Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I always forget about these flames here. X4 is just like, it just sounds and looks really cool. But I find some of it like a bit of a slog nowadays. But that's just, you know, that's just me. It's still, I think, if someone were to ask, like, I would definitely say X and 4 are my favorites. X is just like a perfect game, that first one. I've never liked or even enjoyed in the slightest X2. I don't know what it is about that game, because it is just sort of more of the same, you know, and it's not all that horrible. And, like, when people say, oh, that's my, like, when people say it's their favorite, I totally get where they're coming from, because the music is great, like, it's just more of the same. It's, like, it has some pretty cool ideas, but I think with the first X, it's just so flawless that it's like, how do you do anything beyond that, you know? And it wasn't until like 4 where they really sort of introduced, like, I think maybe just the visual style, the music, the presentation, just overall is like very different. The way stages are split up in X4. I really, yeah, I just dig that game. Or I used to. I tried to replay it recently, like very recently, and I was just like, yeah, it's just not landing. I really don't care for 5, or any, really honestly, any of the other ones. 2 is okay, you know? I find 2 a little too challenging as well. And I don't like going after the, what are they called? Like, there's like, not Vile, but the 3 robots. Whatever they're called in X2. I really can't stand that kind of stuff. Or like how that one and 3 make you go back to stages, or you have to like really optimize your route to go through them. Like, I really don't like backtracking and going through like stages more than once. In Mega Man games, like, it's fine if it's like an open world kind of thing, but like, I think that's why I've never really like fully been able to get on board with the Zero titles either, or the XZ0 whatever. I just like simple old Mega Man. And I remember getting X on the SNES. Like, I still have the box and everything. Like, there's only like a few franchises that I fully collect for, and that's like Mega Man, Castlevania, and Ninja Gaiden. But I still remember getting, like, the first X game and being, like, blown away. Because it was like, I saw it at the store, I had the money. It was just one of those games, you know? Like, I didn't even have to try it before picking it up. I had seen, like, you know, magazine articles and whatever, but it's like, it just looked so good and sounds great. As the years go on, I like the Capcom sort of reverb electric guitar, that inherent sound for the SNES. I like that less and less, but the compositions are all fantastic. I still think I would actually put Mega Man 7 for the SNES above X, but that's because I'm a crazy person and I just prefer the classic series, and I think that Mega Man 7 has one of the best soundtracks on the entire console. That and Super Castlevania 4. It doesn't have all of that, like, filthy reverb. Yeah, I'm like really feeling the lag here with like trying to jump, because you kind of have to jump out of the way of these bombs at the last second. Did I say reverb? I meant lag. Seven was a game I did not like at first. I remember renting it and being like, it was way past the SNES Prime when I had rented it, and I was like, where did this game even come from? Like, they didn't advertise it very well, at least in my neck of the woods. And by the time I got around to picking it up, it was like still really expensive. I just didn't care for it. I didn't like how the Robot Masters were like split. So you'd get like 4 and then 4. I mean, there is a code you could put in, but as the years go on, like, I really like 7. I think it might have, like, easily, like, one of the top 2 or 3 soundtracks in the entire series for me. It has hands down, the best Wily theme, that's for sure. At least as far as I'm concerned. I remember buying 8. X8. Or sorry, not X8, but 8. Mega Man 8 for the PlayStation 1. I remember, like, picking it up for a song. It was like $7.99 or something. It was crazy. I got that, and I got, like, Castlevania Symphony of the Night for, like, really cheap. Which is really weird. Like, I look back at it now. Going to the game store and being like, oh, like, Castlevania. I don't remember it being such a big deal. I don't remember it being as big a deal as it is now. Like, it's considered, like, one of the best. One of those types of games, right? But, like, I always remember it being, like, a discount sale just because no one was buying it or something. But then I go and look at all of the old reviews for it. And the reviews are super kind, like, they're, like, glowing reviews. Oh no! Oh, I was gonna say, that's like a weird glitch that, well, not really a glitch, but it's like that's one thing they got rid of, is if you, that's my first death right there. We won't really count it. We'll count it, but still. kind of a frustrating one. So when you pause to go to the weapon screen, you automatically like zap back down again. So I was already like taking damage from one of these stupid things, these stupid googly-eyed platforms. And so I zapped through it. So it looks like a glitch, but it really isn't. But it just doesn't feel nice. I think it wasn't until 3 that they fixed that. Fixed that or changed it? I think changed it is a better word because it's not really a flaw. It's just a really awkward mechanic or feature. The other thing about like Mega Man 1 and 2, and a lot of people say that 2 is the best, you know, blah blah blah. But these first 2 games, both of them, Mega Man is Rock is a little slippery. He does not stop on a dime, which can make him feel a little awkward to control. Especially if you're more comfortable with the later games. That was definitely fixed in 3. And hands down, one of my favorite bosses, just overall in the series, is this first Yellow Devil. Rock Monster. I just really dig the patterns and stuff. But I'm sweating a little bit because like, you know, as I keep saying, the leg, it just doesn't feel what I'm like used to. As I said earlier as well, like I use Mega Man 1 to test out emulators. I use it like for an NES emulator. I always test Mega Man 1 and Mario, the first Mario. Like if I'm able to like sort of do some of the weirder movements in the original Super Mario Brothers, then the emulator's pretty good. Speaking of X, like this is a sort of a weird thing that they did for the first X game, is they did this sort of similar style where you fight the first, I think all of the Robot Masters going up to the final battle are all in the Wily or whatever Sigma stages. As opposed to playing them through portals. I think the portals, where you have to fight all of the Robot Masters in a row again at the end of the game, I think that's the stupidest, worst decision that this series ever made. Or just stuck with, you know. I much prefer this, where if you have to do a thing where we have to fight the bosses all over again, do it this way, and do it the way that the first X did it, where they're sort of spread out a little bit more. And it's not because it's particularly challenging, it's just because it feels... It's the same thing as like a boss rush, just in general. Like, I've never liked boss rushes. Like, we've already fought it. It makes it feel a little pointless. Oh, that was a really good Elec Man. I always, even without the leg, I get a little freaked out taking that dude on. Oh, just missed it. But yeah, if I had one complaint about this classics, or just the Mega Man in general, it's those, boss teleporters at the end. This is such a great tune as well. I have to make sure that I'm like sort of managing my equipment here. This doppelganger fight used to give me so much trouble when I was a kid. It ended a many run. It's kind of crazy just, you know, where Capcom were at this time as a development studio for the NES. You know, they'd been around in the arcades, but most of the sort of ports to the NES and like home computers, they were handled by different development teams and weren't always great, you know? Like, there were a few that were okay, like Bionic Commando is a terrific game. But like stuff like Ghosts and Goblins, not the greatest port for the NES, like stuff like that, and like it's just crazy to think of like how perfect they got Mega Man, which is just a fresh idea. Just how perfect it was straight out of the gate, you know, like. Mega Man, Castlevania, there are like just very few franchises that get it right, you know? Because as much as a lot of people would say, oh, you know, a lot of people poo-poo this game. They're like, oh, you know, it has a lot of like problems and whatever, and it really doesn't. Like, even if you don't like the game, it's really not that much different than all the other games. It set the template. I'm just trying to gain some weapon energy here. I think that's just largely the case like nowadays with people who just like ape other people's opinions. They read stuff online or watch a video and they say like, oh, you know, like Mega Man 1 should be ignored or stuff like that, or Castlevania 3 is the best Castlevania. I mean, it all boils down to opinion, but if you actually sit down and play Mega Man 1, it really isn't all that different. If anything, like, Mega Man 2 kind of screws up a couple things that Mega Man 1 did better. Like, I think the level design is much better in Mega Man 1. You can really feel, in a lot of cases with Mega Man 2, you can really feel that the developers were doing it in their free time and maybe weren't necessarily getting paid and had to rush like a few things, you know. They were getting paid, but not in the same way that they were with Mega Man 1 and 3. It's just kind of crazy. If you look at other... Ah, see, I did it right there. Getting all screwy. But if you look at other sort of like contemporary Capcom home releases from this era, like, this is really a remarkable effort. And it's one that's really kind of stood the test of time as well, at least of the classic series. I know that the X franchise has its fandom. It has, like, you know, some pretty loyal... To call them apologists is a little bit like of a backhanded thing, but like just people who enjoy the X series more. And I could see, like, if I were maybe like a bigger fan of anime or like story-based video games, I could sort of see that, but I just like to pick up and play simplicity of the classic series, which X started out as before it got all like up its own ass with the story and like, oh, you have to go over here, get this if you want this ending, or we'll get this thing for this, you know, body part. There's just too many options, too many variables. But I mean, during that era for a 2D game, you want, like, people really wanted to get their money's worth. You know, you put X6 or 7 or whatever on the shelf next to something like a Grand Theft Auto. I know they're not the same thing, but, you know, you have to sort of compete with the longevity of the game itself. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. I still have Iceman and Wily's love interest, Gutsman. Should we do the bomb thing? I don't know. This is gonna be real tight. I thought I definitely screwed up there. I'm like typically not this bad at dodging these stomps. Oh, there isn't a health pellet here. I thought there was. All right. What are the two items to I think it's flame and then elect, right? It's been a while. All right. We have a chance. You kind of stay close to it and then move away. You can bait these like weird. Oh, this is gonna get real tight. You can sort of bait these weird spirally balls. You can bait Wily's balls. In all honesty, the only two changes I would really make to this game are, yes, the magnet beam, a little bit weird, right? Like a little bit of an odd way to force the player. And something that isn't all that coherent for newcomers. The other big thing is I think that these bosses at the end here, like going up and fighting them back to back, there should have been a health pellet at the very least. Maybe after 2 of them. I think they fixed that, quote unquote, for some of the other like sort of versions of this. I can't remember if they did it for the Sega Genesis one, that was a Mega Drive exclusive, but. Anyway, enjoy the ending here for Mega Man. I think, what was that, like 1 death? Not too bad. I can get through this game without dying, typically, if I was playing on real hardware or my Mister. But I think, you know, that's fine. I was just trying to unlock some stuff. Because you get, like, different features you can unlock within the Legacy Collection. Alright. Enjoy the ending.
I'll be sending in my first string this time.
Gee, I hope I know enough cheers.
あのロックマンが帰ってきた。まだまだ懲りないドクター・ワイリーの野望。グレードアップした8ステージの強敵ロボット、面白さ2倍。究極の痛快アクションゲーム、ロックマン2、ドクター・ワイリーの謎。
Oh yeah, speaking of laggy, huh? I really liked those anniversary collections. The GameCube one was kinda the worst though, because they inverted the buttons, and you couldn't switch them. I remember, because I have both of them. I played the PS2 one first, and then I just found or got the GameCube one. Probably in a collection somewhere with a bunch of like Resident Evil and other Capcom games, but like I just could not wrap my mind around the fact that the buttons were opposite. It was like A was shoot, right? Something like that. It was just did not feel good, and I just could not get right. But what was really cool about that collection, the anniversary collection, was it had the 8 games. The music was a little messed up, especially in Mega Man 8, but what was really cool about it was you had the Power Fighters games, the arcade games, they were like right there. And I really liked the presentation and stuff. Like I dug how you could like sort of walk between the rooms and unlock things and these jumps are making me real nervous here. These pretzels are making me thirsty. I recently streamed that. Well, maybe not so recently, a year or so ago. And what was the extra in the X collection? I have the X collection as well. Oh, the extra in the X collection was Battle and Chase. Was that what it's called? Battle and Chase? Basically the Mega Man kart racing game. That was a really cool addition too. So, like, stuff like that. Like, I think that Airman's sort of tornadoes or whatever those air gusts are, I think those are just really, really poorly designed. Because you can't, at least I can't, successfully dodge all of them. And I could understand, like, if you had an ability that enables you to destroy all of them or something, right? Like, something like a rain flush from Mega Man 4, but I don't think you can. I could be mistaken. I'm not gonna just sit here and trash Mega Man 2, but, like, Mega Man 2 is a classic for a reason. But it's just, there are little things, you know? Like, I think Airman stage is great, and I think this is one of the best stages as well. It's almost like Elecman 2.0. It's vertical, a lot of, like, platforming challenges, timing challenges, and it's really great. But I certainly wouldn't consider this the best NES game of all time. I know there are some lists out there that consider this one of the best. Like, I legitimately do think that, we're not going to play them today, but I do think that, you know, I know the difference between objective and subjective, but this game does have problems. It has legitimate problems, and so does 1 and so does 3. Those first three, the first 3 that we're playing today, all have issues. I think, again, I already said this, but I think 4, 5, and 6 are pretty perfect. They ironed everything out to the point where, personally, I think they feel a little homogenized. They feel a little safe. And by that point, the whole thing is getting a little long in the tooth. But to consider this the best NES game, I think is a little silly. Especially when you have things that are kind of perfect out there, you know, like Super Mario Brothers. I would consider that a pretty perfect game. Also, like, it's cool that there is a difficulty option in the North American version of this, but I think if you are going to rank this among other 8-bit games or just the series itself, and I don't want to gatekeep here, but I think if you were going to do that, you have to play it on difficult mode, because it is more on par. It's on par with the other games when you do that. It's like, you're not really, to play it on easy or normal, whatever this game calls it, you're kind of handicapping the challenge. And it would be different if all of the games had that option, but they really don't. So, like, the amount of damage you do to bosses, the amount of pickups and stuff like that, it all varies with those difficulties, whereas difficult mode feels more in line with what the series was with the first game and where it would go. But I also think it's really cool that they allowed people to play it that way, especially those who think that, like, Mega Man 1 is a little too challenging or whatever. You know, it's always nice to have that option, especially nowadays where games just aren't as difficult as they used to be, whether it be with quality of life improvements or just in general. There's more of a slope, and I'm kind of working on a video right now, a review of a more modern game. So we're not going to exploit Metal Man's weapon throughout this game. Personally, it's in the game, so I think it's fair play to use it. I know a lot of people sort of poo-poo people who use it and are like, oh, you're kind of like cheesing the game or whatever, but it's in the game, so whatever. However, I do think it was like a serious oversight by the developers to allow it to be so strong. If you look at the the Shadow Blade from Mega Man 3. That is just a more... It's a tempered metal blade. Something that's a little bit more sensible. Personally, I like to use it for a couple of stages, a couple of sequences, and then you'll notice, like, just in general, the way I play these games, I play a lot with just the regular blue pellets, or the lemon pellets, the Blue Bomber's regular weapon. Mostly because I can't be arsed with, like, swapping between things. And even with the newer ones where you can use the triggers to sort of, like, cycle through, I tend to go to the menu screen just because that's what I'm used to. I think this is a pretty great stage as well. Like, it's quite varied with, like, a lot of different traps. Some of the stages rely a little bit too much on, like, waiting around. So you have to, like, sort of wait for a platform or wait for this or that, which I'm not particularly in love with. But these first few stages that we've played through so far are really great. It's always satisfying to sort of line up one of those crash bombs and let one of those bottom feeders sort of run into it. I don't particularly like how they got rid of the enemies in between the boss gates here. Maybe they thought they were just a little redundant or whatever, but I always really enjoyed them. This is a clever little battle. I love the gears in the background. Just like such an amazing image for just the entire stage. Like having the gears moving around and like animated and just really cool. Like almost abstract in the way it looks. I have like a real soft spot for NES games. Like the NES is my favorite console of all time. I just really like what developers did with some of the backgrounds and sprites and stuff on this kit. It just looks so clean and crisp, and no two games looked alike. They're just inventive. Like even within the same series, like Mega Man is a sort of everything is almost identical throughout the entire series. Like things improved like visually, but it's like there aren't many huge changes. Not like something like Castlevania between 1 and 2, a totally different visual aesthetic. Or like Zelda 1 and 2. Vastly different games. It's like back when like developers could take risks. You know, I'd say weren't afraid to take risks, but I don't think people are afraid these days. It's just like you can't get the money, you can't get the funding if you don't present something that's like an existing IP, or if you say, oh hey, you know what, like instead of doing this top-down adventure game, we're gonna do a side-scrolling action one instead. Jampuki, how you doing? Also, Parody, like, good morning to you as well. I just saw that you messaged at the very start of the stream. A lot more drops in this game, even on difficult mode, or normal mode, as it should be called. It's like our introduction to like space alien type of creatures here, those like UFO looking things. The design on this is just so cool. The larger sprites and stuff, or are those background? Like, how do they do those giant fish? Are those like backgrounds? I think so. That might be it. Everything's a little larger here in Mega Man 2. Say maybe a little bit more character. Background's burning my eyeballs. The other big thing with the first couple of games is like how Rock stops when he picks something up, which is, it can really throw you off. Or throws me off, at least. Alright. Our first Aqua boss in the series. A little bit sloppy, but whatever. I'm sure we'll take a couple of deaths here in this game. Not because I can't do it, but just because, like, yeah, that leg... I'm talking as well, so... It's really weird, eh? Like, you're so used to playing a game that you've been, you know, you've had in your life for decades, and then you play a port of it, or, you know, in this case, in this Legacy collection, and it just feels like just slightly off, but you can tell immediately. It just throws the whole game off. Like it's, I feel like similar with the Sigma games. I know, they're technically like built from the ground up, I think, for the most part. The Ninja Gaiden and Sigma games, but it's like... You know what you want your character to do, but it's just like slightly, ever so slightly off. Didn't mean to whistle into the mic there. So I know I said I'm not going to be using the metal blades all the time, but like there are just certain sequences that I feel they're sort of built for. Whoop. And I gotta give props to the people who actually say hello when they enter the stream chat. Maybe I'm an old fuddy-duddy crank, but it's like, a lot of times people will just come in and like demand something, like, oh, you're playing this wrong, or you're doing this, do this, and it's like, what? Like, hello? Like, you exist? You know what I mean? I don't know. It's kind of rude. So it's nice when people say hello. I can't remember the last time I did that part legit. Another, like, really solid stage, though, you know? There's a reason this thing's a classic. It's great. It's so breezy and entertaining to play through. I can only imagine, like, how challenging this must be to, like, a newcomer. So... Fortunately, I can't really experience it for the first time, you know? We'd have to go back to the late 80s for that. Like, I vividly remember being out of town, visiting family, and they were all, like, everyone, all the adults were going out doing something, and so I was allowed to, like, rent a game so I could keep myself occupied, and renting this, like, for the first time and just being blown away. It was also, like, I vividly remember playing a Mario game. It was sort of like Super Mario Brothers or something, but it was, like, for the Apple II, because they had an Apple, and I was playing it, but I've never ever seen it, or every single time I try to look it up, it's just like I'm a crazy person, or I find something completely different, but I very vividly remember it. It's like all the backgrounds were black. It looked like every stage was one of the underground levels, but throughout the entire game. This tune here, like, I always get this stuck in my head. This is just like such a vivid childhood memory for me, and as much as I cover old games and stuff like that on this channel, I wouldn't call myself all that nostalgic. Like, I know I'm kind of telling stories today, but that's just to not have the stream completely in silence or with the music that'll likely get me taken down from YouTube, or the video down. But I wouldn't call myself a particularly, like, nostalgic person. This tune, when I think Mega Man 2, it's this game, it's this track. This is one, like, I feel like they have tried to recreate in other Mega Man games, you know, specifically, or for the first time in 4 with, I think it's like, is it Skullman's theme? Which has that, like, percussive drive. I'll switch back here to Metal Blades. Apple Mario clone hard hat. I don't know. I'll take a look at it. It's like, it was basically Super Mario Brothers 2, or sorry, Super Mario Brothers with completely new stages, and it was all, like, dark, and I remember playing it feeling like I shouldn't be playing it. It was like almost like an 8mm video or something. I'm like, oh, should I be playing this? This feels wrong. I haven't been able to, like, find it. I've been trying to... And this would have been, like, the mid to late 80s. Like, well, late 80s. Because I didn't get my NES until Christmas of, I want to say... Well, like, the first year it came out in North America, I think. But I was, like, one of those fortunate kids where... my dad was sort of into video games, so he would buy all the modern systems. Like, we got a PlayStation. I want to say, like, week 1 we had the Sony PlayStation. This is always a little, like, janky too. This is another thing that they could have done to, like, maybe tweak a little bit, is this fire. Whatever, we'll just use the Metal Blades again. These, like, leaves falling are a little tough to avoid, too. That was just sloppy on my behalf, but the leaves falling, that pattern is, I feel like there's something weird with the hitbox. Or maybe it's, like, just too tight, maybe it's just too good, I don't know. There's just some of these bosses aren't great. Mega Man 1 had Fireman, which is a little bit finicky to, like, sort of not take damage against, but in my mind, you should be able to fight any one of these without taking any damage. And I have done it against Woodman a few times, but Airman is a whole other thing. This stage, music is great. Again, like all of the music in this game, phenomenal. This stage feels a little lazy. Like it just feels like, I get what they're going for and it is unique, but it's so short and kind of like, maybe it's just because I know where to go, so I'm not getting like confused or lost. It's a little bit of a maze. These enemies can just suck a lemon. No, it's not like yeah, it's definitely like a Super Mario Brothers 1 type of thing. Yeah, I've just never really liked this particular stage. Ice physics are cool, you know, whatever the hell this is going on here. Does anyone really know? Is it just like sort of glossy? Yeah, so he's noticed like how he stops when he picks stuff up. That can really become hazardous in certain scenarios. And that happens in this game and the first one. But there is like an inherent slipperiness to Rock's movements as well, which again is something in the first one. But it is something that gets lobbied against the first game a lot. And people just sort of say, well, Mega Man 2 is the best, but the first one sucks because it's too hard and, you know, you slide around a little bit. And it's like, well, you know, be fair. Because the same thing happens here. Hard Hat Mac is just a really weird title. Fun to read, a little challenging to say. I think this is a great boss battle. Even though I'm not doing particularly well here at avoiding. This is like sort of like the precursor to like some of the later series bosses on the NES, but also Snake Man, which I think is a far more exciting version of this. Time Stopper. This text is so slow. Get your weapons ready. 3. Get equipped with item 3. It's just like repeating the same thing over. Okay, so here I'm definitely going to have a tough time getting through this stage. This is a challenging level, but like I have this like so locked in just from years of playing it that I can get through this lickety-split no problem. But with the lag, I die here all the time in this Legacy collection. And again, it's only this, well, I've only played this PC one and the 3DS one. The 3DS alternative, no problems. Like, I didn't have any problems with this, like, lag. It's very noticeable, the lag here. I don't know what other people have said about it. Like, I'm sure there's been a breakdown of how laggy this actually is, but it is very laggy. It's actually kind of one of the worst. So I'm gonna use this, because like, it's so much more exciting to go through it and actually do it legit, but it just doesn't feel right. I noticed it a little bit, I think, in the X collection on the Xbox too. I don't know what the deal is, like why it's so laggy. But this is like a whole other kettle of fish. This particular game is just, it might be one of the worst that I've bought. I don't buy a lot of collections, mostly because like I can feel the lag and it kind of drives me a little crazy. Like I didn't buy the Turtles collection and stuff like that. I tried it out and I was like, okay, yeah, it's fine. But the original Ninja Turtles game on the NES, which I like quite a bit, there's some like precision jumping and stuff that just kind of felt off. So I actually got my money back for it. I think you can actually use crash bombs, right? I don't typically, I usually fight this dude legit and then use the flash at the very end. But we've already used it. Okay, yeah, that does a lot of damage. I think this boss battle is a little of a... I think it's a bit of a crapshoot, and I also think the stage is a little too unforgiving. Like, yeah, those laser beams are iconic and everything, but like... that's sort of the entire stage. Like, it's almost like a glorified, like, you know, like the X series, they started to do vehicle stages and stuff like that. Like, that's kind of how I feel about that particular... It feels like a gimmick stage. Like, there are a couple of moments, like, with those, like, fire enemies. For whatever reason, they are here in, you know, Quick Man stage instead of Heat Man's, but, whatever. I guess I better be quiet for this piece of music, because this is everyone's favorite tune. Aha. I think this stage is just fine. Again, there's a lot of like stop, start kind of things going on here with like, you gotta use the mobility tools to get around and stuff. And I think that's cool, you know, like it's introducing players to them. For the longest time, I used to use just the one, like the little propeller thing to get through this whole area, but it wasn't until like fairly recently, like the last decade or so, that I started using the 3. I don't think I ever used the 3. Self-excuse if you hear like squeaking and stuff. I'm actually sitting on a couch today instead of a proper chair. I got this going on while I'm watching Knight Rider in the background. Yeah, the 3 is pretty handy. I mean, it's a bit superfluous just because the 1 is, you know, you can use the 1 for everything. But like, this platforming stuff is pretty cool. I don't know. It's really hard to be like kind of cheesed about this stage. I think it's just like, I think it's fine. It's a fine introduction. I think it's like tighter than the one from the original Mega Man. What I really like is how all of these Wily stages throughout the original series, they're very similar in style. Like, you can actually see there's a little hiccup there. That drives me crazy. When you're jumping across, it kind of hiccups. It's like a weird thing that I can't really explain. It just like kind of pauses and moves. It scrolls weird. It throws me off. It's thrown me off so many times. I think this is a really sloppy boss. I don't think it's particularly I think it looks really cool, but I don't think it's particularly great to fight. But anyway, you can sort of see elements from this first Wily area borrowed from the first game, and like sort of there are a lot of sequences and a lot of like platforming challenges that are very similar throughout all of the earlier games, which I think is really cool. Again, the song is terrific, the tune is terrific. I still do have a soft spot for the Wily 1 stage theme from Mega Man 7. Like, I think that one is kind of the best, but this one's just iconic, right? Okay. I need my rocket sled. Oh no, why did I do that? Oh no! Ah. First time playing this game here, I guess. Well, that's death number 1 in Mega Man 2. Maybe we can keep it at 1 for all of these games, or for at least the first 2. I don't know why I jumped. If you hang around on here, you can get an E-Tank, I believe, over here, and it's just like an easier path, but I think we're totally filled up on E-Tanks. Just jump over that. Yeah, so like that's kind of a nicer path, but I also don't really want to get a 1-up, just in case I mess something up late game, because you really never know. Especially with like how I'm not feeling particularly confident with just that bit of lag. Just gonna fill some of these things up here, but it is draining my metal blades quite a bit as well, so. Squeaky couch. I had this as a ringtone for, like, I think it was like that first time you could put your own ringtones on a cell phone. And if you ever want to get sick of a track, of a tune, real quick, or like cause like some sort of like weird, I don't know, reaction every single time you hear it, just make it a ringtone or an alarm. I did the same thing with, Payback by James Brown. I made it my alarm for work. And so whenever, like, something work-related came through, I would hear the beginning for Payback, and now I just can't enjoy that song anymore, which sucks, because that song is awesome. The whole album is amazing. But I kind of ruined this tune for myself. Holy crap. Making all the bad decisions here. Playing Mega Man 2 so sloppy. Now, where do people stand on the bubble? Is it bubble lead or bubble lead? I just wanted to be safe there. Actually, I would have died. I didn't realize these things took so much health. Now, some people say bubble lead, others say bubble lead. Should I even bother with this? You know what? No. We can get one later on. I feel like this particular stage here in Wily's Castle just kind of feels like a bunch of assets tossed into a mixer, you know? Except for the really weird shark enemy here that only appears like what is it, like once or twice? That's not even really a shark, is it? It's just a fish. Does it appear over here as well? I can't remember. Yeah, okay, so it appears out of both those gaps. It's just so strange. It's just to create that that creature and just have it appear. So minimally. Alright. I think this is our first example of like a spike trap like that, like something that we'll like see a lot more of in later games, where they rely a lot on insta-kill spikes. I always do that. I always do that with the stupid bubbles, and I fire a few off, and then I'm like, oh wait, it takes forever to take one of these down with the bubbles. Yeah, I don't know. That's just sort of a nothing burger of a stage, right? It just kind of feels like just whatever, boring, bland. Except for the fish. Gigantic fish. I do like how we start like seeing Gutsman as the face for different bosses and villains. It starts as early as the second game in the series, right? That's pretty rad. Wily's never-ending love for the Guts Man Robot. Okay, this is where we can kind of fill things up. I definitely need full Crash Clash. Crash Clash. And again here, like, I think the idea here is really cool, but I think, like, that enemy is just in a really shitty place. I don't know, I don't love these Wily levels. This is something I think gets improved upon in every subsequent game. 3 has some pretty weak Wily levels, but at least they're fairly easy and straightforward. Like, 4 is where they start getting really good. Again, like, it probably sounds like 4 is my favorite or something, but, like, it really isn't. And we'll get to that. Like, maybe I'll play 4, 5, and 6 tomorrow. I don't really know. I have a lot of stuff I have to do in the morning, like, work-wise. And I prefer streaming in the morning rather than in the evening. Because, to be frank, like, evenings are like when I spend time with my partner, but also when I like to like watch sports, because that's kind of typically when they're on. And I'm like the dude who does all the cooking around here, so I just prefer doing stuff in the morning, like especially like streaming. Yeah, you see, like rock still like flashes down. When you're coming from the items screen. I'm pretty sure they fixed that in 3. If not in 3, then definitely by 4. I guess we'll see. Just trying to think of what my day looks like tomorrow. I think I might be able to stream a little bit in the morning. So 4, 5, and 6. If I do them, I would want to do all 3 of them. just to keep these like nice and tidy. I actually considered doing all 6 today from this Legacy collection. But I have like some stuff to do. Work-related stuff this afternoon. So yeah, let's say we'll do 4, 5, and 6 tomorrow. I mean, we're not even done 2 yet. Like, something horrible could happen right now, and I could screw myself in 2 and get frustrated. I don't see that happening, though. And I do plan on streaming Friday as well. But I think Friday we'll do something different. Maybe play some... It's Quake's 30th anniversary. Maybe we'll play a little bit of Quake. Play something that's not a platformer. Since we did Bloodstained yesterday. This today. But 4, 5, and 6 will take at least another hour. I think like 1, 2, and 3 I can get through in like a few hours, like 3 hours. Like 2.5, 3 hours. But like 4, 5, and 6 take significantly longer because they have like basically, ostensibly 2 castles, right? Spoiler. Do we fight this guy or just go? Yeah, let's just go. No more points either. Which is kind of cool. Like, that's one big thing here. Like, I mean, I guess if you're sort of an arcade fan. Now, this boss is just horrible. Like, but I'm not going to go on about it. Everyone and their mother has talked about how stupid this boss is. It's just poorly designed, you know? I can understand what they were trying to do here. It's, it's frustrating and everything else, but, like, it's just, even if we just consider the thing that is the most annoying, is that you have just enough, it can only be damaged by 1 special weapon, and you have just enough, right? Even we just take that out of the things that we're considering here, which is largely like just a, you know, a subjective thing. You're just like, okay, well, some people aren't going to like that. Okay. Just how jittery, slow, you can't see the projectiles properly when these things like fire them out because it's just also choppy and janky. And if you fail, you have to go all the way back and farm for more Crash Clash. I'm sure there's like one person out there who defends this and is like, oh, it's actually a really clever idea, but just no. You know, I'm all about people having opinions, but this is just a flat out no, dude. And I think that is like hands down one of the worst decisions in the entire series, and it's in the game that everyone says is the best. I think it's like one of those Dark Souls things, right? Like, everyone says that Dark Souls is one of the best games ever. And again, like, it's an opinion. You can't... I like plenty of things that have tons of flaws, you know? But... Dark Souls 1, like, it has a lot of problems. We're not talking about Dark Souls, though. You can't stream... What is, like, see these patterns? That's just... Okay, that was all me, but, like... Is this his weakness? I don't know. I don't know what its weakness is. I'm just gonna let myself die, I think. Like, these patterns are stupid! Yeah. I could have avoided that one. Like, there are a couple there I could have avoided, but I was just getting friggin' annoyed. Like, those first 2 patterns, like, back to back, like, how are you supposed to avoid those? That third one. So you can avoid the first two, because that third one was just a messy, sloppy shit. Now, is there something I am missing? I mean, it's totally possible. This game that I've been playing for like 40 years. I don't want to use heat, because maybe I will. I'll just use one. Yeah, I kind of need that for later, I think. I always forget what to use against Wily in this one. See? Those leaves. Like, it's just straight up bizarre, dude. Oh no! Oh, I thought I jumped out of there in time. Are we gonna die twice to these robot masters? That would be really embarrassing. I think we're gonna die twice to these robot masters. Do I do it? No, we'll just take the death. We'll take the L. That's 2. That's 3 deaths in Mega Man 2. Boy. I should be embarrassed. Like, too many enemies are weak to the metal blades, too, you know? But again, you don't have to use them if you don't want to use them, so whatever. It just feels like an oversight. Like, I just don't think this game is perfect, which is totally fine. It's really strange fighting Quickman without, like, the platforms within his room. It's probably better to optimize the order you take these on so that you, like, don't waste the energy pellets. Yeah, I don't even need that. Maybe starting from the right is better. I don't know. I always forget what order they're in because I just want to get through this as quickly as possible. Just really not a fan of having to fight the same bosses over again. I really like enemies like this. Like, if anything, actually, this dude, like, Flashman is quite similar to Proto Man. Alright, here we go. I think it's heat first, isn't it? Maybe? Yeah, I always forget these end bosses. You know, I'm just gonna play it safe here. We have 2 anyway. Just hammer him. Get him out of here. Isn't Crash, isn't the bomb his true weakness? I honestly never remember. Now, if you just kind of like sprint through this section, you don't have to wait for these water droplets, but if you kind of linger, you're stuck having to wait for them to drop. Again, it's similar to the Boo Beam. It's kind of shitty that, like, if you lose all of your bubble lead here, there's literally no way. You can't even farm. So you have to get a game over in order to refill all of the weapon energy. Again, I think that's an oversight, you know, and these are things that happen in other games in the series as well. It didn't really fix this stuff until much later. My timing is way off here. It's a very specific... I'm getting hit by a lot of these pellets. Yeah, oof. Okay, we gotta play it safe, because otherwise... I've really messed myself over here sometimes, like, for a couple of times. Yeah, okay. Play it safe. Not having the best Mega Man 2 experience today. And I can't really blame the lag. I thought I would, like, take a couple deaths in Quickman stage, just due to how weird this PC port feels, you know? I always find it interesting to hear, like, where other people place these classic Mega Man games. Like, which order would you put them in? Like, in terms of, like, least favorite to favorite. I don't think it's any surprise that this particular one is sort of, like, near the bottom of my list. Middle to bottom. But that also is because I considered, like, all of them to be pretty damn amazing. Like, 8 is my least favorite. Probably. I'd have to really sit down and think about it. I do have a list, because I was working on doing a rank and review of the entire series, but... And Dr. Wowie. But, yeah, so that's Mega Man 2. Enjoy this ending. That'll probably get me flagged on YouTube. Because YouTube is a big sack of crap nowadays. Oh yeah, definitely parody The soundtrack is, it's amazing, right? I would argue that this next game, the soundtrack is even better. But that's just me. What I also like is like how the end tune from the first Mega Man is like the intro for Mega Man 2. Like that's really cool. And I'm not taking anything away from this soundtrack. I just think the third game, oh boy, there's something like dark about it.
今度は宇宙で決戦だ。ロックマン。ロボット犬ラッシュを従え、さらにパワーアップ。ファミコンソフトロックマン3ドクター・ワイリーの最後、近日発売予定。カプコン。
Okay, whoever is in the duck suit, show your ugly puss.
I'm Hardman, and you're gonna have a hard time beating me.
We'll see about that, bolt brain. Oh!
You can't make a dent in me, Mega Man. I'm buff. I'm buff. I'm tough stuff.
Eat plasma, big mouth. Looks like the harder they are, the harder they fall.
Just all of that music, like that intro, like how reflective it is, like almost like somber, melancholy. It just has like all like this like really nice feel to it. Like I like how there's no I know a lot of people don't dig how we don't get another like intro scene. I kind of like how it's just sort of the logo, like similar to 1, but that title theme is just magical. And then like the new music for the Robot Masters, and then this tune, like this tune is just like metal, right? It's just, it has an intro to it as well, which is like something that like maybe a lot of people don't really talk about or consider, is like how a lot of these themes have intros that never get played again in the loop. So Snake Man is like Cutman is also another one where you get a little bit of an intro. A lot of the tunes, quite a few from 2 as well. Like you just get that intro bit before it settles into the groove. Really cool. I think these stages flow a lot better as well. I think they're just more happening, like dynamic things to avoid. They're a little bit longer, like a touch longer, which I really dig. See what we missed out on there. Nothing really that important. And even when you have to like sort of wait for something like these big snakes, it doesn't take very long to eliminate them and move on. And like there's like these little like puzzly bits to the enemies. Like I always get scared doing this. Do I use rush coil or do I just make the jump? Yeah, I'll just make the jump. Okay. those springy enemies are super cool because you can, like, if you wait, you can hit that and destroy that before. There's just like there's a lot of like dynamic movements to the enemies. The patterns are unique, and it takes you a little bit to figure everything out. I really like the flow of this game. I think Mega Man 3 is possibly still my favorite in the entire series, like the classic series. We'll get to it later. Like, you know, a lot of people... I think a lot of people just started disliking Mega Man 3 when news got out that it was relatively unfinished, or that the developers struggled with a lot of things and whatever. I think that's typically the case with especially like video games. People are so fickle with them, where it's like, oh, some info gets out and then it becomes like an echo chamber of nonsense. I think this is one of the greatest bosses in all of the classic series. It's very simple, and it's a fairly rote pattern, but it's just, I don't know, it's entertaining. They don't tank a ton of hits. It's like the perfect balance between, you know, being able to take them out too quickly and them being sponges, lemon sponges. Lemon sponge cake. That tastes really good in my brain right about now. But mostly unique music, like even for the introduction scenes, just all of this. I think this is really terrific stuff. I could really use a single screen. I don't like having to navigate between two screens for the items. Just make it a giant screen. That's one change I don't particularly enjoy. I like how Mega Man like looks around, like Rock looks around. I also really dig how there are multiple orders to take down the Robot Masters here, and like, I mean, that's the case for all the games, I think mostly. 2 especially, like, because if you decide to use the metal blade, you can kind of destroy the entire game. But I like how there's like kind of like a couple of different routes you can take to, like, that are optimized. They're well optimized both ways. Yeah, I just like the flow. I like the enemy variety. I think the enemies and the stage designs are a little bit closer to the first game than they are the second. The Robot Masters themselves are a little weaker than they are in the first game, but I think they're designed better in terms of like coming up against, like, in terms of like mechanics and patterns and stuff to parse. I think it's a much better set of Robot Masters in that way. They're just a bit more nebulous though, like, you know, like Gemini Man. Like, what do you do with like a Gemini Man stage? Like in the first 2 games, you've basically used up all of the sort of elemental gimmicks you can, right? So now we're getting a little bit more obtuse with the themes, as it were, I suppose you could say. This is one of the 2 tracks not done by the main composer. There's 2 composers for this game. I believe the lady who was supposed to do it, I believe, like, she was pregnant or something like that. She was supposed to go through labor, so they had, or like she found, or Capcom found the other composer. So she did this one, and she did Needleman, which we'll be going to next. Like, I love this little penguin thing. Like, it's crazy. It's cool. This game is like a little glitchy, but I would argue that the first 2 are as well. Like, I would say that the second is glitchier than the first. But this one's definitely the weirdest of the 3. I think they're just trying for too much stuff. The introduction of Rush, I mean, come on. It's iconic. I remember everyone used to love this game. It used to be like the fan favorite. And then, you know, again, you start getting into the internet discourse, the rhetoric, and it becomes less popular because a few people say, oh, it's unfinished. It's not unfinished. It's just a little sloppy in some areas, but in all the things it does well, I think it does things better than the second entry. And there are some other areas where a lot of people just don't. It doesn't gel. But we'll get to that in a bit. I just think all of this is super cool. Very ambitious, this one, I think. This is when, like, I believe, like, you know, the Rockman series, the character was a bona fide Capcom star, right? So this is like the big one. Or at least it was when it released, right? And then 4... I remember 4 getting quite a bit of hype, but it wasn't, like, nearly as much as this. Like, this was all over the place back in the day. Ironically enough, it's kind of one of the harder ones to find out in the wild, at least for me. Like, this one took me a little bit... so I have all of them with the cases, the boxes. But I also have loose copies that I play as well. It took me a little longer to find this one loose than it took me to find some of the other ones. So here's another tune done by, I can't remember her name. The introduction of the slide, which I think is just... You know, you can have your Mega Buster or whatever the hell, the charge shot. You can keep that, you know? Just give me the slide and it's all good. It's one of the reasons that 9 and 10 didn't really, like, connect with me as much as I had hoped. I think they're terrific games. 9 and 10 I think are great. But omitting the slide and the charge shot is just, I feel like, just another example of, like, Capcom and, like, the fandom being too obsessed with Mega Man 2, you know? We have, like, several games post Mega Man 2. Let's focus on those as well. That's why, like, I largely enjoyed the changes made to Mega Man 11. Yeah, it's more, there's more variety in the colors, but also, like, I feel like it's more grounded than the second game. The second game is very cartoony, and this is too. I mean, it's Mega Man, right? But... I don't, like, necessarily believe in, like, putting down one thing in order to heighten the praise or whatever of something else, but, like, I just think, you know, a lot of people have sort of lost interest in some of these other Mega Man games. Like, 3 was the big deal for the longest time, but now it's always about 2, and it's like, yes, 2 is a great game. Uh-oh, this could go badly. Am I gonna die right? No, okay, whew. The Gemini Blade, not the greatest. The weapons in this game, not the greatest. Not the most memorable weapons. Again, I do legitimately believe, like, when someone says, like, 4 is their favorite Mega Man game, like, I'm all on board. I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. It has, like, the best of everything. It's just it feels a little too polished. You know, in my eyes, it's just, it lacks the character. Like this sort of like weird, janky, glitchy stuff happening on that screen, on the robot select screen. Like that stuff is just, I don't know, I like it. But I'm also a fan of like B movies, and you know, this is certainly not like a B tier game. It's just, I like all those little weird elements. I think this is a terrific stage. This Magnet Man is like one of my favorite, like in terms of like designed bosses, in terms of what he looks like, but also I love fighting Magnet Man like legit. I think it's just a really entertaining battle. But yeah, like pound for pound, like I understand why people consider like the second game, the soundtrack is iconic. Like the music is absolutely incredible. I still prefer the music here. And in a lot of ways, I kind of consider it like apples and oranges. Like the music is so different in this game, I think. You know, sure, it's still like NES chiptune, but it is like a little bit like more like, I don't know, like at times it's more jazzy, it's like more metal at other times. It's like, it's crazy how like dynamic the music is in this game. And like, I guess partially because there are technically 2 composers, but 6 of the 8 are done, of the main master themes are done by the same dude. Let's see if we can maybe zap this, nope. Over here. Yeah, it just bounces around until it's done, which is kind of annoying. What's down here? I completely forgot, even though I could see it. Oh, it's just this stuff. I don't even need this. Well, that was a waste of time. Get another chance at defeating that. I said this yesterday too, but I just got a new deodorant. And it's just so weird, like, you know when you like try a different scent or whatever, and you're like, what does that smell? And you're not sure if you like it. It's almost like there's a stranger sitting next to me. I'm alone, but it feels like someone's in here with me. Someone who smells like coconuts and eucalyptus. Smells like a goddamn dirty hippie. Ever met someone who says like, oh, this is what I am, you know, like personality-wise, like, oh, I'm a hippie. Don't tell me what you are. This battle is just so much fun. Love it. It's just over way too soon. Like a quicker, more curated, like weapon get screen. I'm hard, man. Just a big old keg. This is one of the best tunes in the entire series. They all are. They all are. Every tune in every single Mega Man game, really. But this one, wow. If you've never seen Benevolent Dick, he has a YouTube channel. He plays drums. He used to do like kind of like funny, like almost satirical video game content. I don't know if he does that anymore, or at least not as frequently. But he does a drum cover of this. That's fantastic. But this is what I mean, like when I'm talking like a little bit jazzy at times, this is just so complex, this arrangement. To the point where like when they released Mega Man 10 and they said all of the old composers were coming back to do a tune, like each composer would come back and do one piece. I could tell immediately which one was the Mega Man 3 composer. I can mostly tell because it was instantly my favorite Mega Man tune in, like, decades. I was just in love with it. And I was like, who wrote this one? And yeah, sure enough, it was like, yeah, of course. The dude who did the music for 3. So many E-tanks in this one. So many E-tanks. Like, the balancing is a little off in this one, but I feel like that's where things got rushed the most. Like, firstly, like, the Wily stages. A little too easy, a little repetitive. But also, yeah, there's so many E-tanks. It's a little too kind. Like, again, I think they balanced all that with 4, 5, and 6. I think they really found a perfect balance. I don't think 4, 5, and 6 are perfect. Like 100%. Like, I do think there's, like, little niggling nitpicks that I have about all 3 of those. But ultimately, I think that when it comes to, like, gameplay, pacing, all that stuff, that they're much better than the first 3. Even though I would certainly rank these first 3 games much higher on my personal list. Like, 3 is probably number 1 on my personal list. 7 might be number 2, or 1. I would probably go 3 at number 1, 1 at number 2, and 7. And like 9 and 10 are up there as well. Like, even though like they got rid of the slide and the charge shot. Oh, I'm playing super poorly here. A very easy pattern to wow, that was really bad. For me anyway. If I have to see this Subdog commercial once more, I'm going to send Subway a very harsh, stern letter. They must be creating these commercials just to get attention, whether it be positive or negative, right? It's just like negative attention. It's still attention. Top man. Or is it pot man? Me. How irritating is that? It's obviously weed man. Oh, jeez, dude, come on. Playing poorly all day. I'll blame it on the heat. And really, really hot the last week or so. Also, like, gambling ads in the morning. This one is just like a lady saying, like, oh, you should be gambling right now. It's called Free Cash. It's not even on sport. It's just like, it's a game. Like, you download a game that's a gambling game. So, you no longer die in 2 or 3 when you get hit by something and land on spikes. Which is an adjustment. It looks like you do still... Yeah, you still do phase into existence. You do, like, beam down when you switch weapons, so it must be Mega Man 4 where that stops being a thing. Look at these little Mets! These little hard hat Met guys. It's great. I actually kind of, like, I almost prefer these, like, goofier robot masters, you know? Like, Top Man and Hard Man. It's like, what are they even thinking? You never know what to expect with their stages. We used to, my coworker and I would walk around and do little post-it notes, and we'd like draw different man-mens, as we call them. So it'd be like, you know, at work, we would write like computer man and like draw a little computer man and like stick the post-it to that particular thing. Or like if we were in the break room or whatever, it'd be like coffee man, and like, anyway, there's a little story. The goofier, the better. These are a little janky as well. I forgot to mention in Snake Man stage, there are those like rising platforms that like jiggle coming out of the columns, and those things, like if you like step on them incorrectly, you will just like fall off. This is another like really entertaining boss to come up against, especially if you're not like using its weakness. It's really I don't know, really cool stuff. This is something like I'm almost cringing thinking about saying, but if you're watching this, whether you're watching it back later or live right now, you know, it doesn't hurt to leave like a thumbs up. I know, like I never ever say that in my videos, and I take a lot of pride in not begging, but like I think people think that like, oh, it's doing it live, so it doesn't matter. It does kind of matter. This kind of gets repetitive, you know, like, especially since a couple of them are very similar, like in terms of like the patterns. It's just, we don't really need. I understand that it's like a bit of a tutorial for the slide and all the new like kind of movements and whatever, but, and I really do think that it is that big of a deal. Like, I think the slide really changes. Well, it definitely changes. It's not just an opinion thing. Like, it definitely changes the whole flow of the game. It allows the developers to create new patterns and new obstacles to avoid. Which is pretty rad, right? Like, especially that they're literally changing the game. Only a couple into the series. They already have fresh new ideas, you know? I feel like the charge shot is a little bit, it was a little bit of like an obvious, almost like, you know, yes, it does change things, but I think almost for the worse, or it's like a sideways sort of change, especially in 4, where it kind of like becomes the only, it just becomes the best way to eliminate most enemies and get around a lot of the obstacles. I do think it should have still been in 9 and 10, though. I think there's one of those, yeah. Could really use some health going into here. One of the big complaints here is that the top spin is garbage, and I just really never had a problem with it. You know, like people say, oh, it uses up all of the energy, or you just like take too much damage. I've never really had that much of a problem. You just tap it, and you have to be in a good spot. Like that was like, he slid into me. But, I don't know. I don't understand what the big deal is. Just gonna mute my mic for a sec here. I have to like have a sneezing fit. That's that's got to be possibly my favorite tune in the game, or at least one of them. That was just so good. I couldn't. I didn't want to ruin it by talking. So this is where people have a problem, or at least from just what I've noticed online, people really don't like these like stage retreads. Now, hear me out. I think they're awesome. I think it's really cool how you get to fight like 2 Mega Man 2 villains in each of these stages. I also think these are different enough that they feel like their own levels. Like, you're not really doing the same thing twice. At least for the most part. There's a couple little minor sequences, but most of these are like completely new. I think that's great. They're like almost double the length as well. Like that's, I just think they're awesome. Like, I remember seeing this and just poring over the Nintendo Power magazines where they would have like the whole levels laid out. The other big thing about these that I really enjoy are how they change some of the enemy. So things that you would see in the original stage, like for instance here in Needleman's, I think this is one of the best examples of it, is like in the original Needleman level, you see the hard hats. They're like the gigantic hard hats, and you look at them and you're like, oh, what's that? It looks like it has the the cross on it and everything, and it just looks like a part of the background scenery. But in reality, it's a gigantic hard hat that like sub boss that you come up against, or like mid boss. It's friggin' great, man. It's so awesome. Are you kidding me? I really wish, and this is something I've always wished, is that they kept the design. Like, why not just have them be the Robot Masters instead of this, like, different robot that they combine with? But whatever. And it's nice now that you can actually, like, slide underneath these if you want to, or at least some of them. So this was actually the second Mega Man game that I owned. So I owned the first one, loved it. Third one, I never purchased the second one. Like just during the first run of games that I had, because you have X amount of money, you have only so many birthdays and holidays that you can ask for a game. So I never asked for the second game because I rented it. And I finished it in one evening. I rented it for an entire weekend, so I had it Friday and Saturday night, and we had to return it on the Sunday or the Monday, I can't remember. But I finished the second game so quickly, like the first time I played it, because it's significantly easier, I'd say, than the first one. And I just kind of felt like a little bit ripped off, so I never bought it. But when this game came out, it was right around the time that I subscribed to Nintendo Power, because you would get Dragon Warrior or Dragon Quest, whatever you want to call it. You got that for free if you subscribed at a specific time. So, and like a bunch of guides and everything. So I subscribed at the perfect time to get this and buy this game. See, like these things were always there in the Needleman stage, but it's like that foreshadowing. It's super cool. Rush Jet, a little broken in this game, but I think it's broken in like a good way. Like, yeah, it's definitely not optimized particularly well. You can like leap on him to conserve energy, which is kind of cheap. But like how like the first time we were here, it was like daytime. It was nice and bright. Now it's dark and like stars and stuff, like spacey. It's super cool, man. I love this. There's so many different ways to take out the enemies, but anyway, so the way I felt when this game dropped, and you know, like games weren't cheap. Like I spent like $80 on it, or my parents spent like $80 on this game, 70 maybe. But I remember thinking to myself, I kind of get Mega Man 2 with Mega Man 3 because I get the Robot Masters, and it always drove me nuts that they would go into these, what are they called, Doc Robot forms or whatever. But I always thought, like, oh, you get so much game, because this was the first one that it didn't go directly to Wily levels either. You get, like, 4 brand new stages. I don't know, I love these Doc Robot or whatever the hell they're called stages. I think they're great. I also like how like crumpled up and stuff they look on the stage select screen. Needleman is my favorite. I feel like they did more with Needleman than the rest of them. Like just in terms of like foreshadowing with the actual stage, but also like just you had that whole stretch on Rush Jet. It would have been really nice if they respawned the energy, though. Because if you perish on Rush Jet, you basically can screw yourself and have to start the stage all over again. Because there are no respawns, like, until after you defeat the first Mega Man 2 boss, if that makes sense. This stage just feels like they like removed things from the level, the pre-existing level, which is fine, you know. But this one just kind of feels a little cheaper. This feels like where they would start to take the later games, where it's like a lot of like insta-kill death traps, a lot of like bottomless pits, which is, it kind of feels a little cheap. I don't really love this particular stage, which is why I use Rush Jet so much. But thematically, it makes sense to have like specific returning robot masters in these like in these stages, in these rooms. Like we get the sort of like more mechanical oriented ones, like Quickman, and I think Quickman is the final one for this one. And Metal Man here. I also like how it opens up new weaknesses. So Metal, obviously Magnet. But in that Needleman stage, we got, you know, Airman, which makes sense, because like it's like a little bit of... It's telling us what we're about to do. We're about to, you know, go flying around on Rush Jet. Yeah, but you see what I mean? It's just like basically the same stage as we had before, so... I do agree with people who say, like, oh, it's just like a reskin of the stages. When it comes to this one, I think Needleman is terrific. I think it feels completely different, looks different. This is just a little bit more of the same, and is a little bit, that's just more of a slog, really. I never understood why these get so janky, like these dropping blocks here. Especially when you slide, they sort of like skitter. Right, so it's Quickman. The other thing with it, like, merging with this other robotic shell is that it's significantly larger. So much more challenging to avoid some of these robot masters. Still cool, I don't know. Cool stuff. I do think this is the weakest of them, though. As we'll see here, Rush Marine is significantly, like, sort of, like, underused or just useless. Like, so these things are a different color now, and they shoot down ice. So they look like fire enemies that shoot ice, whereas it was, like, the opposite the last time, I believe? Like, weren't they blue before and they shot down red? I could be wrong. But here's another example of enemies that we've seen before. So we've seen, like, we've seen both these, like, sort of, like, around crawling enemies. And we've seen the ones that look a little bit like ladybugs. But it isn't until here in this this reinterpreted version of this stage that and these question mark blocks just all of a sudden start appearing. Anyway, it isn't until we start to see that they're actually the same enemy, which is really cool. Some Gemini sperms. Yeah, Flashman is pretty hard to leap over here just because of the extra height. Stuff like this, I think, is really stupid. Like just forcing you to use Rush Coil. It's like, okay, yeah, you already have Rush Coil, right? Like. But here, you start to see, it's almost like a little bit of world building, you know? Like, you start to see those creatures, like, eating away at the environment. And this is where you would use Rush Marine, but you don't need to because you have the superior Rush Jet that you can manipulate by jumping. But yeah, I mean, this stage is different in a lot of ways. Also, I think this one is like, in some ways, it's actually easier than the regular Gemini stage. See, like these things. I don't think you ever see them do both. Like, you don't see them from the profile and face. And like facing us at the same time. You don't see that until right here. That's really cool. Yeah, I think this is a significantly easier version of Gemini Man's stage. Because that long trek through the water is pretty challenging. Oof. I was actually almost going to use an energy tank. I had 1 tick of health left. I'd say that this stage is fairly different as well. Like, it's basically the same set of sequences, but with a lot more spikes. And some of the other areas are like a little bit longer. No, it's cool, you know. And when we eventually get to Wily, a lot of those areas are like demolished versions of the ones we saw in Mega Man 2. It's just sort of honoring its legacy and like sort of building on it, all that kind of stuff. It's really cool here in this franchise, just in general. I think they do an excellent job. These things are terrible. For whatever reason, they actually feel better here with the added leg in the Anniversary Collection. They feel more consistent to jump on. I don't know how that works. But in the, like playing this on the NES, like they're like borderline broken. Like I always find myself like falling through them. Something I didn't mention about, what's... the Shockman's stage, like this level, is that it's like very similar to Metal Man's, with all like the gears and the machinery in the background. So, are we to assume that Woodman is weak to Needleman because of, like, needles, like, you know, pine trees? Is that the logic? Again, I really dig, like, the sort of, like, stretches and themes and whatever that this series would eventually sort of get into. It's really silly. You really have to stretch your imagination to parse the weaknesses out. I'd say that, like, Shadow Man is the weakest of these... Oh boy. Of this lot of bosses here in Mega Man 3. He's gonna appear again. There it is. Just because his patterns are just so tricky to anticipate. I know we're not fighting him here, but you know what I mean. Might as well top that up because the Wily stages are just so generous with E-Tanks. I just dig how Heat Man is a lighter, like a Bic lighter. I know there's a way to avoid that, but I've never been able to. Or there was at one point I was able to avoid that first barrage of flames. Kind of interesting how aggressive Heat Man was there. Oh yeah, Break Man. That's what he was called back in the Mega Man 3 days. Not Blues, not Proto, but Break. So remember the Nintendo Power like segment? There was like a little thing that popped out and it was like, friend or foe? Now this is like the first time we properly get to see Dr. Light's lab, right? Like in the middle of a game for a cutscene. I think. So yeah, like this is very reminiscent of Mega Man 1 and 2. Like just the layout of this like opening stretch to Wily. Just a lot more like destroyed. Again, we could use Marine, but, you know, why? Maybe I should have just to kind of show it off. But yeah, like, I mean, these Wily stages are significantly easier than anything we've sort of come up against in the past, but also, like, I kind of don't mind that, because the game is getting a little long at this point. I think, like, a tight hour is fine. That's sort of why I really like playing Mega Man 1 and 2, you know, they're just pretty quick. But it is really neat how, like, these are all very familiar areas that we're running through. There's that, like, kind of continuity in the world building. Oh, I keep saying that, but... I think what would have made this really cool is if they went the sort of Mega Man 1 route and had the fights with the Robot Masters from this game occur naturally throughout this entire stage. It would have added some challenge, some much needed challenge, I think, but also I really can't stand having all 8 of them in those capsules at the end. this is just sort of like a very similar idea to the, is it the first, no, the second Wily boss in, my goodness, I don't think I've ever had this much of a hard time in Mega Man 2. The one where, like, the things are, like, coming together from the walls and the floor. Yeah, see there, like, I will always fall through those in the... if I'm playing it on actual hardware. For whatever reason, with this leg in the Legacy Collection. Now, what do I have to fill here? Part of me really does enjoy how broken Rush Jet is in this game. Alright, so our second Yellow Devil. Not as good as the first, I think. Like, it not as, the concept isn't as well fleshed out. Like when it starts tumbling, it does make sense that a giant fist would crumple it. And you can sometimes get like 2 hits off. Yeah, see, like, yeah, that's, I don't know. I've never been excellent at dodging that. And the fact that, like, you can still get hit on the one side of the screen even when it isn't completely assembled is kind of... What? I thought I could have... Oh no. How many deaths is that? Is that 2 or is that my first death? It doesn't really matter. Those little snap away, these like red things, they should have just been eliminated from the game entirely. They're just annoying. I guess I probably didn't really need that, but maybe I need it for the final boss too. Ooh, that jump. This is just irritating now. Starting to get annoyed. Oh, what? Are you kidding me? 2 deaths in the same area, right after saying how easy these Wily stages are. Alright, no more. Let's just, let's finish this game up, huh? I did a stream of all the Mega Man games once on Twitch, and I'll never do that again. Like, it's one thing if, like, I was a speedrunner, but again, but that'd be, like, a lot of pressure, I would think. But, like, by the end of it, I never wanted to touch another Mega Man game again. So we'll split it up this time. We'll play 3 today, then 3 tomorrow. I think the first 3 are, like, really awesome to play in a row. Like, if you're able to get through them relatively easily. Okay, we're gonna play it super safe here. I don't want to have to do that Wasp B whatever area again. Did I not get 2 hits on? Yeah, see, like, it's not even fully formed on the one side, but I still take damage. But I did get 2 hits that time, I think. I can't believe I died to this boss. Like, I consider this significantly easier than the one from the first game. Which, again, is one of my favorite bosses in the entire series. Alright. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I have 7 E-tanks. Time to use them up. I think it was wise for them to cap them in Mega Man 2 and in a lot of future games as well. Because you're able to, like, farm for them as well, for E-tanks. So those things are like a less annoying version of the ones from Mega Man 2. The ones that just stand there and, like, shoot pellets. The patterns are a little easier to figure out. They really, really liked this whole idea of, like, darkness and... Why is that guy even there? Oh, I was facing the opposite way for some stupid reason. This is really cool here. I have a different... challenge to overcome. I always wanted to see them do this again, you know, like have previous Robot Masters return for another game, and they kind of touched on that in Mega Man 7, 8, 10 as well, like with that dastardly Wily stage at the end of Mega Man 10. Ooh, so brutal. There's like the machine that like spews out like... Okay, I think it's Snake. Is it the Snake that's... Yeah, it's Snake, okay. I don't know why I thought it was Top. Or maybe it is, I just didn't hit it properly. Top's broken! Top spin's broken! So these enemies that populate this entire stage are really, really awful, I think. I just don't think they're well designed or programmed, or I don't really need anything else. I mean, you can take them out with weapons and whatever, but like, it's just, I just kind of brute force my way through this. I just find it really irritating. I could probably use less health, though. Yeah, we'll grab the health. Just really awful. Like, they look terrible, and I think they're just like, they could have used some more time in the oven. It's sort of a waste of time, right? Like, feels a little bit like a time dump there. Right, here we go. And we're gonna do this legit because it's just, again, like just one of my favorite bosses. Not a lot of different moves, but I mean, he's got the hopping, he's got the magnet force, and the sort of like levitating magnet missiles. It's just really entertaining. It's fast, it's balanced, it's... everything is well telegraphed. And the design is just really cool. The giant magnet on its head. It always throws me off when the one disappears. Okay, let's see if we can do better against Kegman here. Oops, why would I jump? I like the rhythm you need to sort of master to defeat this boss. I think it's really cool. All the bosses, I think, are pretty okay in this game. Again, Top is great. They sort of all require a little bit of mastery of the slide maneuver. It must have been a lot of fun to design these bosses. Now, again, like this boss is, I think, a really... I think it's the weakest of the designs. It feels like something from Mega Man 2, where it's just like a little too chaotic for its own good without, like, really awesome patterns. Very tough to sort of master the patterns. Similar to like a Fireman from Mega Man 1 and a few of the ones like Woodman, Airman, Quickman from Mega Man 2. Just a little too hectic. I think after this game, there's only really one boss that I would say is kind of unfair is a weird term because like that's very subjective, but like just maybe not as well conceived as some of the other ones. And like I would probably say that is Skullman from 4. Like I don't find that a particularly balanced fight. Kind of saved the best for last there with Snake Man. Maybe not the best, but I do like Magnet Man. But Snake Man's great. Cool design too. Like, yes, we're going full goofiness, but I dig it. So I feel like they sort of overcorrected the mistakes with Mega Man 1 and 2, where you really couldn't refill your stuff at a certain point. They're a little too generous here. But it is better than not having the resources and having to resort to an intentional death, right? An intentional game over, really. It was the only way to refill things. What is the weakness? Is it hard? Is it hard? Holy shit. First an alien, now a spring toy? We can just push forward here. So much slow down. What am I doing here? There we go. And that's Mega Man 3. Tomorrow we'll do 4, 5, and 6. Enjoy the outro here. Thanks for joining, everyone. Or all 3 of you. 4 of you, whatever. That's it.